morning, Seahawks, faculty, guests. My name is Mr. King. I'm your host. I'm also a fellow Seahawk, and I'm representing our North Campus. You can find me on Instagram at Meet Mr. King. It's your source for inspiration. I have the pleasure of hosting a new series here at Broward College called Who Are You? It's a career exploration series where students will be able to learn about the various types of careers within their pathway, the educational paths available at Broward College to get in those fields, and hear from working professionals within that pathway about how you can be successful in that industry. This series is meant to help those of you currently thinking about school, enrolled in the school, or just coming back to school, learn about different career paths and what you can do here at Broward College. Continue to follow Broward College on social media for more information about our upcoming episodes. All right, so for our first episode, we are focusing on our business career pathway. Today, I have the pleasure of getting to introduce you to the wonderful, the beautiful Elizabeth Garcia. Elizabeth is a devout mom. She's a business consultant, real estate agent, beauty specialist, a former beauty queen, and a former educator. I mean, is there anything that she hasn't done that I didn't just name off just a while ago? I'm super excited for you guys to learn about Elizabeth and how she can lead us all future entrepreneurs on a path to success. Elizabeth, thank you so much for joining us. How you doing today?
Oh, Mr. King, first and foremost, thank you so much for having me on your show. First is good, right? First
Yes,
is
it is. I'm super excited myself. Thank you so much.
excited, and thank you for having me on. And yes, I think through life's journey, it happened that way.
Good.
I ended up having all these individual titles. So, yes.
Well, I'm excited first.
Too. So I'm
Oh,
excited.
grandma. We didn't even mention grandma. That is absolutely correct. There you go.
Big title for me,
You know what? Listen, the fact that you have given birth to a child and now that child has become a mom, you've done your job, and now you just get to do all the spoiling and have the good fun. So this is awesome. I'm so thankful to have you with us here today. We have some college students. We have some people thinking about college, all watching us, all interested in wanting to own a business, work, have a business for themselves. It seems like everybody wants to be an entrepreneur now. Can you tell us a little bit about your college, just your college journey and how you got there, and we'll just pretty much take it from there.
Well, I knew from that, I'm going to go way back. I knew from being young that I wanted to go to college.
Okay.
And I knew this because my mother mentioned it, and I didn't see no one in my realm that had gone to that level of college, but I knew that I wanted to achieve that.
Okay.
But I think that in a season and in the time where I was growing up, we didn't have a lot of this going on, of mentorship and a lot of individuals speaking about things. I think I grew up in the hush-hush era.
Okay, understood.
Whatever happens in your household, you don't mention it, you don't speak of it, you just keep it, and then it followed on to the next generation. But my mother did speak upon a lot of education and going back to school. I remember going back to school with her and sitting in the classrooms while she was trying to get her education going on.
Oh, wow.
What happened in my journey was I went to high school, of course, and I graduated, but I married the individual that I was dating through high school.
Okay.
And we ended up getting married. I ended up getting married at 18. I did want to go to college, but I don't think that my mother knew the next steps to get me there. Because when I did get a scholarship to go away, it was like, oh, no, you can't leave, being a,
Yes.
So I listened to her. I was like, oh, I'm not leaving. She says I'm going to get in trouble out there. I'm not leaving my house. And I didn't understand that next step, and I didn't have someone to guide me in that next step. So moving along, I got married. We ended up having businesses together, and so business was always in me. I seen my father, I seen my grandmother have her own business, and other aunts and uncles having their own business. I love business, and after the divorce, and that didn't work out, we did have a child together. I decided to sign up for school. That's what I wanted to do. And in talking with my mother, education was something that I did love to do, and I love to teach. And plus, I thought of what would be most comfortable with having my daughter and more flexibility. And so I ended up going to school, and I decided to go to school for teaching. I signed up at Miami-Dade and
Okay.
started going to Miami-Dade. There was the closest that was in my area. And I ended up working on Miami-Dade campus in the
Awesome.
in the preschool. It was a preschool lab, and I ended up working there, which was really good.
That sounds a little bit like my path myself. I didn't end up going back to school until later on in life because when I did graduate high school, unfortunately, my mother had a stroke or she became really ill and we had to help out at home. So school really wasn't what I was thinking in my mind at the time. Was really more just trying to help my family. And something was always missing. I understood how
Yeah,
to get around. I understood how to navigate through life, but I felt like I was still, I was always hungry for growth and
it was
knowledge
eating
and
you.
wanting to know.
It was
So it was until later on, after I've gotten married and I've had kids as well, that I decided, okay, I'm going to go back to school as well. And it's been one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life for so many reasons. But what you said in your answer just a while ago in regard to you getting married and going into business before the degree, and then
Yes,
still even within learning a business, you decided that the degree was equally important
it's
to
something
have.
that I wanted. I was working actually for a dentist. I was his
Okay.
dentist assistant, and then we had the business, but because of the issues that we were having, I decided to get a job,
Hmm.
and was one of the greatest things ever. I'm still friends with that employer, with that
Excellent.
my ex-boss. It's been 32 years,
Mm.
and I'm still friends with him. But it's also like sometimes even if you work somewhere 9 to 5, give your all, give your best, give the best
Thank
of
you.
you, because
Yes.
later on it can pay off. Even if
Yes.
you do something that you don't like to do, but you were given that job and you accepted that position, as
Yes.
long as it doesn't take from your integrity, but do your job at the best capacity ever. So give the A1A services. And this later on, I followed that in working in the studio with artists with my business now. And it led me to so many open avenues, just having
This is
that
good.
attitude.
You bring up a lot of principles that you do need when you are going to go into business
Definitely.
or when you do have your own business. But again, you said that you wanted it. You wanted to go to
I
school.
wanted to go to
Was
school. My daughter was 4, and then I got into another relationship. So I had my son. I was pregnant with him. Actually, his birthday is next week, and it's big because even I was going to school. I went to school all the way while
hmm
I was 9 months pregnant. I gave
excellent.
birth on a Wednesday, the 17th of September, and went to class the 20th.
So did you have a mentor? Again, your mom was almost like,
I did not
a
have a.
mentor for
I
you.
had to self motivate myself.
So it was all you. You really made a decision, said, I wanted
Yes,
this and I
and
need
I
to go
had a
after
lot
that.
of oppositions because I had some aunts that was like, no, she can't be going to school. There's no way they would tell my mom, and I just pushed myself because I wanted it. I
So
wanted to accomplish that goal. I wanted it for my children so they can see like, wow, my mom did this.
So for the children listening and the kids who might be on the edge and they're sitting there telling themselves, you know what, I can do this on my own. I don't really think I need school. What would you tell them in regard to keeping them in school and then using this opportunity to help get you better?
So I have a great example. What's going on now with the pandemic?
Okay.
Right? So I have a business, a beauty bar, where we're face-to-face contact, and now we're ordered to stay home, and we can't do this face-to-face contact. Now we can choose to open it in certain amount of limitations,
Hmm.
or be you taking risk. So I'm grateful that I did do my education because I call it a tool belt. And I tell my children this, and I tell my goddaughter this, who just graduated from FAMU. I tell her, you need to have a tool belt. You never know what season you'll be in. So
Yes.
one of my tool belts is having an education
Yes.
background. So what did I do? Now everything is online. So because you can teach online, before this happened, I was able to acquire a job teaching online to China.
Wow.
So because I have my degree. So I'm glad
Wow.
I did that. Even though I'm an entrepreneur, I can still teach to China. That's a different time zone. So
Right.
we're speaking now, they're sleeping now. So I start at 5 in the morning. 5 in the morning is 5 in the afternoon over there. So I can use that degree that I put on pause for a while. I was like, I am done with teaching. I am done with it. But you're never really done with that degree, because those skills that you acquire through school, you're going to use them.
I love that, because
You're going
that's,
to use them in business and in everything. And I will say this, I received more respect from people when they knew that I had degrees. It's such a funny thing, you know, like you're just stepping on the scene. But when I posted one time about all my degrees that I've acquired,
mhm,
people were like, I didn't know you were so educated.
right,
So a lot
right.
of times people will judge you. And sometimes, of course, do it for you, but do it also because you want to have that built-in resume.
Yes, I agree in your credentials. My grandmother also said that your education is something that no one can ever take from you. And when I did elevate in life, and as I started growing and getting into more rooms and meeting influencers and people who really are doing things in this world, the first question they always asked me was, "Where'd you go to school? Oh, did you pledge? Are you in a fraternity? Are you in a," they always ask that question. And that's what really started gaining my interest into, okay, there's something here with school. It's not just about, oh, I got to get up. I have to get get an education because my parents say I have to get my education. There's so many open opportunities, and networking will be one of the biggest ones for it. So can you tell us how pursuing your degree helped build your network, or how did it help you build relationships?
So what it did, it really helped, because since I was a teacher, educator, and I did was a union steward, these individuals, they knew what I was doing when I decided to exit out of the education world. But I had this built-in network, school board members that I knew, teachers that I knew. So I
Right.
started my business to reaching out to those people that I already knew. So it was a broad spectrum. And these were people that had jobs already. So they could afford the services that I was going to provide or whatever I had. And I had their ear already because they knew me.
Exactly. I love that. I love that. Um, i-
Exactly.
going back to you starting a business at a young age, was there something that was missing that you knew only school could provide when you started learning to build a business at a younger age? Like, yes, you start a business at 18, you marry someone who has a business, you join them, you're starting to learn, because I'm a hands-on person. I like to see it. If you show me, and I can usually get it done.
Yeah.
But there's a certain bit of wisdom, there's a certain bit of knowledge that is used when you've gone to school. Is that something that you identified and said, oh, you know what, I'm probably going to need to go to school for this? If I want to grow a business or want to grow this, I'm probably going to need school. Was there a moment or shift that happened for you
When
at
I
that time?
decided to leave education and go into business,
Yes.
well, because I needed to acquire the proper licensing to do what I wanted to do. Yes. So I
Okay.
take a,
And your business degree you did need that, or you did need
I
a
didn't
degree?
do a business degree, but
Okay.
I did my master's in educational leadership, which is an administration. So it is
Okay.
almost semi-similar. And also having my degree in elementary education is almost like communicating,
Right.
learning how to communicate, learning how to teach others of what the services I provide.
So you're
So,
still pivoting with the degree that you're pursuing, and you're still leaving the door open for all opportunities just through you getting this degree.
and sometimes you got to go backwards to go forward. And I will say this, I worked at this spa that was elite. It's called, it was on the beach. It was only for private members. So here
Wow.
I am with a master's degrees, and a lot of them thought because I was doing pedicures and nails that I didn't have the degrees that I had. So sometimes you got to take it for a minute. The shift, it's a shift, and
Hmm.
shift is rough, but you got to take it for a minute and I always gave a quality service, and someone's always watching you.
Yes.
Someone's always watching you, because I tell you this, when I decided to leave, I received a phone call and they said, we want you to run our spa, which was great, because then I got to learn how to run a spa. When I later on, it was a training. So you have work on somebody else's dime, learn on somebody else's dime. So
Mm.
someone's always watching you. Oh,
That's true. I always tell, even as a mentor and as a friend, integrity is a really, that's a big thing in our world. And it's more about what you're doing when someone isn't watching rather than what you're doing when they can see you, because that's when it's real. That's when you can see when someone's being genuine. Is if I didn't have to ask you to do this, or again, you had master's degrees doing manicures and pedicures, and someone would look at that with a different perspective and go, I couldn't see myself doing that. But think of the relationships you built, or
the
think of the
many
just the
relations.
conversations that you're able to have. So that's a really good example of being ready. How did you stay ready?
Um, well, what happened was one time, I will never forget this. This was a launch. I was doing a pedicure for this lady for a while, and I didn't know who she was, but she was one of the CEOs of Miami.com, and she wrote about me.
Wow.
And that's how it started happening. Then I started writing for articles. So if you Google Elizabeth Secret Beauty Bar, you'll see it's over about 50 articles that I was doing. Like people
You,
like,
you can't you can't run past your business that quickly, because I really want us to dive a little bit more into you pivoting now and you becoming a business owner. And now you have in the college degree. There's a lot of kids who are watching us that are pursuing a business degree right now, and they think, well, once I get the business degree, it's all going to work out for me. And if only they knew that that's just the beginning, because there's some work to do once you. So let's just say
sometimes
you get the degree. Can you talk a little bit about the list of businesses that you started with? You don't have to give us all, but you can just give us an
I
example
did
of a
start with
business
it,
you
but some of
started.
them I did for free. Some I volunteered. I helped with some photography work with some individuals. I just jumped. Sometimes you do have to give volunteer work to work.
Until you get your niche, until you find out what you're going to do. So then once you find out that you find you find the business that you want to do. Let's talk a little bit about the growing pains. What kept you going? What didn't make you want to go, I don't know if this is for me, I want to quit. What kept you pursuing your business and just working to help it grow?
Well, a lot of times, you have to understand as an entrepreneur, if you don't go out, you're not going to get a check. It's not like you call in and you say, hey, I'm taking today off. But
Come on, say that again for
you're
you
not,
guys listening.
you've got
When
to
you own a
marketing.
business, you are the
Yes,
business. Come
you are.
on, sing
You
it.
are the marketing. You are the brand. You are the brand. So if I say I'm selling a skincare product or I'm doing this, then I have to live that so that others can say, oh, I'm interested. I want to listen. So you have
Mhm.
to get people's ear. And one of the best ways to get that is A1A service. Like, don't have an attitude, provide that service. There was times that I wasn't feeling well and I didn't want to provide that service, but I gave it my all and I went out. There was times when sometimes personal things can happen, a loss in your family, and
Right.
you're the CEO and you have to come in the next day. So things can happen in your personal as well, a divorce, a breakup, um, not feeling well, just a lot can happen in your own personal. So you have
So
to be prepared for those storms.
you're absolutely right. And I'm just thinking for that person who has a business degree but doesn't feel like they have the idea, or doesn't feel like they know what kind of business they want to build. How do you encourage someone to join a team and use their skills to help build up a
So
business?
your team is right there in your classroom. Walk
Mm,
in your classroom. Find out first learn about you. What is your weakness? What do you like? What don't you like? So take this
yes.
while you're in school and you're listening to your teachers and you're doing projects and you're probably having to do, I don't know, we had to do hours and work in several schools. So while you're trying to do that, find your niche and then say to yourself, I'm really not good in this area, but I see that such and such is really good at it. So maybe I can join together. So
Again, relationships,
so
and
right there in your
understanding.
own classroom is your network, can be your network to grow your net worth. I mean, that's something that we say all the time, but it is true. So you have already started the path for your networking right there in your classroom. Show up, get dressed up, get ready, pretend you are already working in a business. When I was a teacher, this is a true story. I have witnesses in the school. And
Mhm.
I said to I did educational leadership, and I thought I was going to do a principal stuff. When I did the intern, I realized that I did not want to be in a building for 8 hours stuck in there. And I realized that that was not the position for me. So once I realized
Mm.
that, let me step back and take a year in the classroom and see really what I want. I'm very religious, so I prayed about it. And so I would walk in dressed up with a suitcase, and I would tell the counselor, and sometimes the assistant principal, when I'm walking by, says, well, I'll be in my office with my employees. We'll be right back at lunchtime. We're having a meeting at lunch. And they're like, what? And I would walk in the teacher's lounge and tell the teachers, and this wasn't arrogant to be arrogant. I was speaking it into existence because I knew I had to get my mind to another level. And so I would tell the teachers, I'm going to sit with you guys, but this may be the last year that you sit with me. So, hey, and they would just look at me and laugh. And then when I came back the following year, they were like, so what happened? I says, God said I had to come back. There were some more lessons I had to learn with you guys.
I love that. I love that.
I had this attitude, and I took my classroom and I would tell people, oh, no, I'm not a teacher. This is my company. We're just
so you manifested in your mind, and then you started living it and started breathing it, and then you started producing it, and it just starts happening naturally on its own.
I still am very close with the assistant principal, and we talk about that a lot of times, and especially the counselor, because her and I talked a lot, and she says, I can't believe it. I remember you would talk this, and I was like, I was out of there.
Again, it's back to relationships. It's back to relationships. And again, knowing yourself. I agree. It's value, knowing yourself, relationship building, understanding your network, understanding your strengths and your weaknesses and how to use them and take them to your advantage. And again, you went on a path thinking that it was going to be school, and it's not until you try it and you do it that you discover, you know what, maybe this isn't for me. Maybe I really don't want to be in a building 8 hours a day. And some people, it's okay. And it's absolutely, for everyone listening, it is absolutely fine if you
my passion, a team player.
Right.
See, so you have to respect when you don't like what you're doing, respect it and figure out where do you want to go next. That means it's nothing wrong for your fire to burn out. It means that you've accomplished to the maximum capacity that your desire for that position held. And now it's time for you to go to another level so you can promote yourself.
Yes. And you spoke a little earlier about the pandemic, and a lot of business owners, again, small business owners were hit. I'm also a small business owner as well. How did you spoke a little bit about it earlier, but how did you overcome the fact that you knew, you know what, I might have some downtime. I might have some down years. That first year is usually your hardest year when starting a business. But after you kind of fight through that first year, you kind of understand and you find balances. I always say, you look at the data, and only for you to get data, you have to do it. And once you get the data, you can say, okay, this is working, this is not working. How were you able to pivot through those first, couple of years of starting a business? And it probably didn't, it's usually not as well as you plan, but how did you prepare for that?
Well, we already had a downtime in our family in 2019 when my daughter was pregnant with triplets and we lost 2. So I had to go.
My condolences to the family. Yes.
No, we're good now, and I had to go to the hospital, so I had to change the model of the whole business. And I pulled out one of my tools out of my tool belt was the teaching.
Okay. So that degree and those classes and why school is so important came right back when you needed to.
School was very important. It also, it does something like an uplift for you. It takes you to another level in your mind.
Takes you to another level, kids. You hear this?
And in your self-confidence, because this is what I'm doing now is the self-care. But self-care is you're working with your mind, elevating it. You're no longer going to see things as other people see things. So therefore, that's why friendships and relationships starts changing, because you're growing, and it's okay, because you got to promote yourself. You are important. You got to elevate. And this is why when you're in a relationship or in a marriage, if you are going to school, you should come back to your partner and say, hey, I learned this. Let me show you, so that you both can elevate together and stay on the same level.
I love that. That's one of the great, other than the networking and meeting new people, it's just that we're all learning from each other. And I've learned a concept of having a growth mindset. And for a while, there's a difference between having a fixed mindset that, your skills can't be developed. You are who you are. You're born with these talents. And then those who think with a growth mindset that I can always learn. I can always get better. I can always find out something new. Is this what helped you pursue your master's? Is this what helped you chase more knowledge for you to continue to go to school? And when you already had a business established and had your bachelor's?
Well, with the master's, I was still a teacher. So, you know, it has helped me because when my master's is in exceptional education. So it kind of like when I took those classes, it teaches you different characteristics of people, how to see a characteristic or somebody with a learning disability. I'm not saying that, but it helped me not categorize, but understand individuals and really have a patience and have a more understanding and compassion of who they are and make it about them. So yes, it has helped me. My degrees have helped me. I wouldn't change a thing. I would still continuously go back to school and continuously go into the education, because my motto in the business realm was different than any other esthetician or any beauty bar. I educated my clients. That was the difference. That's what made me different from any other beauty bar business. And this
That's
is
what
why,
made you stand out.
and this is
And that's
why
what
I
it
would
sounds
get
like.
calls to do magazine articles, because I was educating my clients. I was doing products from the ground up. When I say ground up, from seeds up. And I would also educate my clients on, hey, I don't have a protocol. I just go with what I see, but this is what I'm doing. And it's important that you know, it's not just you laying here, me doing a facial, and you just being comfortable. We have to target those areas. So that's what changed my business and escalated it to the next level. But as you were saying with the pandemic, so I pulled out my tool belt and I started teaching.
That's beautiful.
And now
love
I do workshops Zoom, because education is something that I love and I have a degree for it. So I can do a Zoom workshop with 10 and still get paid and educate them on what I do, not giving away all what I do, but educating. So I created my skincare line. So, but I educate the clients, and that's important, because if I
Well,
educate you, you could do it at home.
so educate us on how, okay, so what business did you start with? Because I know you're in the beauty realm. We spoke about that when I gave you the intro. So give us, you're a teacher, you tell yourself that you want employees, you tell yourself you want a business, you grew up in a business, you were married in a business, and now finally you're ready to do it for yourself. What was that first start for you? What was that first business? And then where has it grown to be?
Well, education gave me the lift to go do the business, because I didn't think that I could do it by myself.
Ooh, say it again. Come on.
I didn't
Education
think that I
still
could do business
coming in
or
to help.
be off on my own. So going to school was more like a therapy also, and it helped me grow my self-worth. When I finished and I
Love that.
walked across the stage with 2 children, with whatever obstacles I was faced with, because there were some,
Yeah,
there was
of
many.
course.
And I realized, wow, if I could do this, I could do anything. When I finished my bachelor's, I was like, wow, if I could do this, I can do this. And then
Come on.
I got together with other teacher friends of mine, and we all went and did the master's degree. But once I crossed over and I realized this it was big for me, with 2 children, trying to work 2 jobs, doing odd jobs to pay this and do this and that. I did the labor and I came out a champion. And I can say that because it was not easy, like so when I got into a position where I can mentor, I started mentoring my cousins, and I told them, if I could do it with 2 children, you can do it if you're single and by yourself. But I would
Oh
suggest
no.
you do it.
I love that. We're gonna cover that. I
And
love that you said that.
all of my nephews and cousins, they've all got degrees.
That's beautiful. And again, you're just setting a standard for them.
Mm-hmm.
And what was that first business? Was it a beauty bar?
So the
Tell me a little bit
first
about it.
business was a beauty bar.
Okay.
I went to school in the summertime. It was a summer break, and I started taking classes. I never thought that I would do nails. That wasn't my thing, but I didn't have an opening for an esthetician for facials. So
Okay.
I left, and then I came back, and then I said, you know what, I'm going to sign up. Not knowing that would be the first door that would get me to one of the prestigious spas that I worked in. Not knowing that position was the one that opened. So never and the lady kept saying, you should do this. And I'm like, I've never painted. So never put obstacles, never put a dome over you, because domes can
Limit
eliminate.
you.
Yes.
Yeah.
So having that nail tech was the first thing that opened, and then after that, I was able to do facials. Then I was the spa man. You know, it just opened so many doors, and still to
So,
this day.
and again, you're beautiful. So I'm assuming again, why not stay in something that I know I'm going to do really well? And you grew through it, and I love how you educated your clients. I love how you took your business serious before you even got into business. That's a lot of. I try to encourage a lot of kids to do is see yourself there. And when you see yourself there, you'll start doing things and picking up habits and creating behaviors so that when you are in the moment and you are there, you're prepared for it already. And what education has done for me is it has helped me. Again, I don't like to debate with anyone because the only time if I would ever have a discussion with you, I want it to be strictly on facts, not feelings.
Exactly.
And what school has done for me is completely speak from a fact-based place. Because when you do your papers, APA, they want to know where'd you get this from before you start, formulating your opinion. So that's what school has really done for me is just help me back up what I knew what I was saying. Confidence was a big thing for me, but I had confidence before school was there. I grew into that, but what school helped me do is become even more confident. And I've had those days. I've had those obstacles, like you said, and just finding the way to navigate through them, to understand that, if it's flowing like water, flow with the current. Don't flow against it. You know it's going to happen. You know it's going to be there. And my goal, we're just, having a good talk. What I would like to do is create what I call college talks. And I, like yourself, being a business professional or students that are here at Broward College, I would want them to do some visits to high schools and have roundtables. And even when, those kids are who not sure how to find themselves or not sure what path they want to take, hear from people who are already there, some freshmen, some sophomores. Well, let me tell you my journey so far. Let me tell you why you would love it. Our goal wouldn't be in there to steer you away from college, but more to just help you see the positive side of it. Life is really about perspective. If I give you the right perspective on something, maybe it'll give you the opportunity to say, you know what, that might be for me. I might want to go to school. I wanted to ask you, for that person who is unsure about what path to take, once they graduate and are not sure what to do in their first year of college, how do you encourage them to find out what's out there for them? How do you encourage them to find themselves in that first year of school?
Well, we have technology now, so you can Google a lot of things and watch things.
True,
You
true.
know, you can go to, YouTube University. You could just watch and see if you like it. But I would suggest that sometimes you have family members, find out what positions they're in, if they can connect you somewhere where you can do an internship. Every
Internship.
can
Yes,
do an
yes.
internship
Learning
somewhere,
and learning.
and sometimes you have to give to get.
Yes, and you got to go backwards to go forward sometimes. Or I've had leaders tell me it's not backwards. You're just making a lateral move. It's okay that you have a good breath, is what one of my great leaders says. Your breath in the organization. You can touch this. You can touch this. You can touch that. And by touching it is because you've experienced it, so you can work in that area, and work in that area, and work in that area. And eventually, what I started doing was just taking those principles that I was learning in corporate America and then putting it into my business. But what school has done is help me legitimize it. It's helped me
Stamp on it.
yes, like that. Okay, this is what I do and this is what I'm doing. So that's what
And it allows you with your degree to say what you're saying because you're
yes,
certified. You went through the courses. You did it.
yes.
I'll never forget. I'll tell you a story. One time somebody said to me, I don't even know where I was just standing there and I was not debating because I believe that grown adults can have a grown up conversation. We don't
Right,
have to agree, but we do
right.
need to respect each other. That's why in the presidency run, they do debates.
Yes, just we're
Yeah.
expressing our
So
opinion.
the person
Like my
said, I
respective,
guess
yeah,
they got
yes.
upset because my facts were right. And they said, you think you know it all. And I said, actually, I do. That I
Went to
specialize in
school.
that. I went to school for that. I have 2 master's degrees that can certify my facts on that. Yeah.
Yes,
And I was a school teacher. So I did that for 14 years.
yes. See, I love that.
So,
Um,
so this is where these degrees, yes, they're back here. They're like swords, like you're a superhero. You're like, listen, yes, listen to me because I went through it.
All I'm going to remember now is tool belt. That's all I'm going to
Oh
think
yeah,
about
the
now
tool
for the
belt
rest
is
of the
big,
day.
and
Is
I
I
always
got
look
this
at.
in my
I'm
tool
telling you
belt.
because during the pandemic, I was like, wow, I'm glad I have my notary. That, I've had people, hey, I need this notarized because so much is happening with grants
Yes.
and stuff like that, and I'm like, okay, there's a fee. I have
Right.
to charge too.
Right.
So
Being a business owner and having that know-how really did help you
so that helped. And then
during this
someone
time.
asked me if I could do a class for them for while they're doing the virtual because they're homeschooling. So I said, well, there's a fee. I can come in at this hour and this hour and teach about etiquette because I did the crowning.
Yes.
So the
Okay.
crowning was really, really, the kids had left. My son was already in college. My oldest was on her own. She went, see, she didn't go to school. She did her cosmetology.
Okay.
That's what she wanted to do. My
Okay.
my other son is, he's going into the medical field. So he's
Okay.
more in that. But I told him you have to do something and be good at it. Whatever
Mm.
you do, be good at it. Give your A1A in there and do something. So that's what she loves. And the hair business is.
Yeah, that's a booming business as well.
So,
But
right.
again,
But
if
she got the education. She went to school because it's just a different method of schooling. And then she
right.
went back and did some business classes to sharpen her business tools.
Right. See, again, right, still on the pathway, again,
Right.
sharpen your skills, being there.
To take
I
workshops and dabble some, to like a salad bowl, just keep adding stuff and build yourself because I'm always learning. Things change in the beauty industry, things change. Although it's $1 billion business, things change, things evolve. And one thing I will tell you, do not copy somebody else. You're gonna
yes, be original, be yourself.
do not see somebody else and think, oh, I want to do that because they're doing it. And no, you have to figure out your niche. But
Yes,
school is
yes.
something that, yeah, I'm glad I went because I've had these increments of, I know people say, oh, I don't want to bring this up because my father used to say beauty is good, but it's a gift. You can lose it, you can not have it. But I've had the degrees which helped me like, no, it's not only beauty here. Like, wait a minute, I know how to speak and I'm an educator. Like I have degrees to back it up. So school has helped me a lot. Like I told you, I pulled out that tool and then I have the skincare line that I have so people can go online and purchase them. And then I give them a one-on-one class through Zoom to tell them which product. So having multiple things is good, but make sure that they're all centered around what you're doing.
I love that. That is amazing. And I love the fact that you found yourself and then now you're just having a field day within your own field. And it took that degree to help give you that mindset, but it helped you pivot in a time where you were confident enough to know that I can do this based on the knowledge that you've gotten from going to school. We're not on campus now, and a lot of times, I speak to our kids as a member of our student life department. And I just talk to them about their path. And I talk to them about, and some of the things they stress about, oh, this class, this teacher's too hard, or this test. I don't know if I could be a good test taker. I'm not sure if school is something I want to stay in. I'd rather just go out there and try to be an entrepreneur and get my business myself and get it going. If you were going to encourage someone to stay in school and continue to fight through this path and continue to fight to get this knowledge and get this education, what would you say to that person to encourage them?
Well, in 2017, I was doing my grand opening for my business in Miami Gardens, and my goddaughter, it was December. It was her break. She was in break, and she comes to me, and her mom says, "Tell her," and she says, "I'm not going back to school." I stopped everything. I mean, mind you, we were doing a grand opening. The mayor was there. We had
Wow.
officials there. I closed the door. It was the pedicure area, so I closed the door, and I said to her, "You will continue going to school," because she was doing makeup and it was really going good for her.
Mm-hmm.
Something that was really, so she loved business and I said to her, you will continue. You just have to find where you can transfer, go up there and ask your advisor and transfer that into that. So what I told her was that we're living in a different world where you're going to get challenged and you're going to be questioned unfortunately, it's unfortunate. It's very unfortunate, but it is, people do judge.
Yeah,
And
you're right.
she was a young girl and coming from minority, and she was going to be judged. And I said, you can't live off of makeup. What if something stops for you? That's all you have. That's all you have.
That's awesome. That's awesome advice. I would say the same
So
thing.
she
And
finished.
it's not about being judging. They're going to want to see your credentials. If everyone out here
Well, I
is
meant
showing
in
you
judging in the
exactly,
sense that they're going to first, like, maybe
yeah,
not open
exactly.
that door for you because they
Right.
don't want to even listen to you or think, oh, makeup artist, there's like 20. What's the
Right.
difference
What's
here?
making you stand out? And then
Right.
education, it's just like I said, when I go into those rooms and I walk in there and I get in there, they're like, man, I like this guy. So where'd you go to school? Let me make sure that you can have a conversation with
No,
me
this
about
is
what I
real.
want to speak
This
about. Yeah,
happens for real. We, we,
you're
we,
right.
we sure wouldn't like it to be. So anyway, she changed her major. It was going to take her a little longer, but she changed it to human resource administration.
Okay.
So I said, great. Like,
Again, helping someone else build their business or doing what she's
and
great at to help them in a
she
business as
graduated
well.
dual graduation. It was her graduation this year. And, now I tell her what's next. She's like, oh, Gotti. But never stop. You're here on earth. Your brain is functioning. You're movable. You still have a lot to give of yourself. So don't stop. There's always so much more that you can pivot into your business or pivot into to pour into you. So I've changed the model of my business. I haven't changed it, but we're doing a self-care. That's what we're doing.
Okay. I love it. And
I was recently
you've
crowned Miss Self-Care 2020.
there you go, Miss Self Care
I didn't even know
2020.
where that came from. I'm like, what?
Listen,
I have a
exactly.
platform for
You
that?
may not see it, but when you have vision, things will start to happen for you when you continue to follow through with that vision and you find your purpose and you move forward. And you've probably helped so many students who are listening to us today, making that decision to stay in school. You're helping those who are wanting to think about coming to school. Because again, I was one of those kids too. I was one of those people as well. But Elizabeth, I thank you so much. You have given us some really great insight. You've helped our kids who are on this business pathway, who want to own a business, who are thinking about owning a business. Why that education was so important. Before we do go, I want to make sure you have an opportunity to let us know about your businesses. Let us know about where we can find it, where we can find your products, just so people can get an idea of what you've built just based on your dream and your vision to pursue a business.
Well, my business is Elizabeth Secret Beauty Bar, and that's on IG, Elizabeth Secret Beauty Bar, the double S. And then the other one is Clear Botanical Skincare Solution. These are extracted by plant extraction. So this was a way for me to get behind the chair and really help my clients with their skincare solution. I didn't even know there was going to be a pandemic. So look at there. That's why you should never stop, because you never know what's 200 yards ahead. And I just
Right.
recently started this campaign of self-care. I did the Miss Corporate America because I wanted to learn more or pour into myself and learn more about this whole beauty, other side of the beauty industry, the pageant world. And
Okay.
I learned so much. So I said that after the kids left, my second one left off to college, I decided to pour into myself. But then we lose ourselves too. So pouring into yourself is these children, these kids going to school.
Right.
You're putting so much into yourself. I still remember my humanity class.
Wow. See?
I still remember, like, the teacher. I remember some things that he said. So a lot of times these classes that you're taking, you're going to need some of the stuff that I said. You're going to remember some of these teachers, and even if they're challenging. Challenge is good. Face
Yes.
that challenge. Do
Yes.
it. Life is going to challenge you. But the only thing here, at least you're like in a bowling alley where you could get the railings up. So
Yes.
don't
You
go
get all
out
the
there.
necessary help and support while
Yeah,
you're here. Get it.
because out there is going to be very rough and and very challenging, and life is going to throw at you some dodgeballs, and you want that, be ready for that railing to come down. So especially going into business, because you're your own
Your
boss.
own boss, your own
Set
entity.
up,
You are the
take a
business.
vacation, that's on you. So learn, take it here, take it all in here. And right now I just finished writing a book. It's a self-care book. And
Congratulations.
yeah, I just finished, so I'm announcing it here. I just finished, we're putting it all together, and really it's a journey of, it's more like a guide
Nice. On
of
self-care.
what I've learned. Yes.
Okay. So again, you're still educating, and there
Yes.
goes that education background, and you having your
And I'm
degree.
glad I knew how to, my grammar,
Right, everything. And you were right. I have some
Location.
professors. I have some professors I still have a really great relationship with who have taught me
Me
some really
too.
great gems. And it's opportunities like this that Broward College really wants our students and our Seahawks to see that you can do anything that you want within this realm. There are so many people out here that want to see you do well. If they see that you want it, then they're going to jump in just as much to help as well, and you've just been one of those
Start
individuals
networking.
to help.
Yeah,
Exactly. Get that network.
start networking.
I'm just so happy you're in our network now. I'm so happy you're in the Broward
Oh,
College
I'm here
network.
always. I'm all about giving back.
You have been amazing. Again, episode 1. So this is awesome. You've helped make this such a great
I had
conversation.
to
I
go through the
thank you.
washing machine by myself, and learn all this on my own. So I'm willing.
Exactly. That's the best part. So Elizabeth Garcia, one more time. Don't say it so fast, but what's your social media? Where can we find you?
So IG, I'm Elizabeth Secret Beauty Bar. Two S's, Elizabeth's Secret Beauty Bar. And
Okay.
on Facebook, it's Liz Garcia, and also on social media, it's Liz Says. Miss
Liz said.
Miss MS Liz Says.
Miss Liz says. Well, Miss Liz, you said a mouthful. I thank you so much for
Thank
joining us
you.
this afternoon. I hope you guys who are tuned in, our Seahawks, our guests, our faculty, I hope that you really gained some really great knowledge on a business owner, someone who did take their education and used it completely to their full advantage. This is what we want to do with this series. We want you to hear from people in a place that you eventually want to be in. We want you to hear from those business owners. And we're going to have so much more great guests. We're going to have so much more great topics. But this is our Who Are You series. This is Miss Elizabeth Garcia. We thank you so much for letting us know who you are. I am your host, Mr. King. Again, I thank you so much, Broward College, for this opportunity. I thank you so much for this time. Again, you can follow me for all your inspiration needs at Meet Mr. King. But other than that, have a great afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll hope to see you again soon. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. Thank you so much for your time. Go Seahawks. All right.